First off, I'm Leo Styles, no relation to AJ or Laura Styles in New York. I'm here with Simon.
Well, I was formerly known as Simon Gotch in WWE, one half of the Vaudevillains, currently known as Simon Grimm, independent professional wrestler, raconteur, collector of fine t-shirts.
So, first off, this is LA Comic Con. This is amazing to actually find you here. Like, what brought you to LA Comic Con?
Well, last night, actually, I wrestled in Hermiston, Oregon for a company called Prestige, and I challenged UFC fighter Tom Lawler, and we beat the living hell out of each other. And then I had a 5 a.m. flight to get here. My older brother, Marcus, actually, he works for Troma Films. He does the booth for LA Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con, AFI, a lot of the events down here. And he said, hey, do you want to do a panel with Lloyd Kaufman and Dr. Chuck Tingle about sort of working in independent art forms? And I said, absolutely. So I flew down here 5 a.m. and didn't sleep, didn't shower. Fortunately, the good people at the Marriott, Gold member, they let me check in early, so I was able to get a shower before I came in. But
First off, shout out to the Marriott. You know, most hotels don't get credit like they should. Shout out to them.
no, Marriott is really good. Like a lot of people who work for WWE stay at Marriott. So if you want to harass WWE wrestlers, Marriott's the place to go.
You heard it first, folks. Go to the Marriott. By the way, shout out to Vince McMahon. Anywho, with that said, there is, I'm going to ask you, just simple questions like, because first off, you're a busy man. You have a lot to do here and a lot of people that really, 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 really just want your time. So first off, on behalf of the Angel City guys, we thank you. Second, as basically, not as Leo Styles, but as Lionel, I thank you for your service because I'm a huge professional wrestling fan. So, of course, I respect what you do with your body. It is an art form. It is amazing. So with that said, I need to know, what do you feel like currently is your biggest career highlight?
My personal biggest career highlight is still in 2004, I actually got to wrestle Mitsuharu Misawa in a 6-man tag in California. It was myself, Mike Modest, who some of you might know from the documentary Beyond the Mat, and Donovan Morgan, who was the winner of the 2002 Super 8 Cup over on the East Coast, against Sal Tomaselli, who's I think more or less retired now, then Mitsuharu Misawa and Yoshinari Ogawa. And Misawa was my favorite wrestler. He unfortunately passed away in 2009. But it was one of those things where it was just like a cool moment to get to work with him. So, yeah, very proud of that.
Well, you heard it first. And, of course, you're a young guy. You still have a lot. You are not old. You're not old.
Like, I just turned 35.
That's not, okay, professional wrestling kind of is old, but it's not old.
Well, not when you consider that AJ Styles is 40.
See, that's the thing. AJ Styles is 40.
See how I put that on you? I was like, go one direction with it, just completely.
Like, oh, I'm old. No, AJ Styles 40, like, but like I said, like, what do you feel like legitimately, if someone gave you a promotion to run, what do you feel like would be the thing that could actually help the business go forward?
Honestly, creativity is the biggest thing. I think too often we get caught up in the idea that wrestling has to be a certain thing, and it's an art form, just like film, just like literature, just like music, where you have to evolve and you have to grow and you have to change. You have to accept that this isn't a con anymore. We're not out there trying to convince people this is a real fight. We're doing what same thing movies do, which is we're trying to gain emotional investment from our audience and get people to care about what we're doing, care about our characters, care about our actions. So trying to approach wrestling like it's real is kind of silly. Tom Lawler is actually a great example. He's a professional fighter. Right. I could be the toughest guy in WWE. It doesn't change the fact this man fights for a living. He hurts people for a living. He's going to kill me if it's a fight. Right. But a pro wrestling match, we can have an entertaining contest and demonstrate, technique and at the same time have fun. And one of the biggest, I think, problems wrestling runs into is we get caught up in, well, in 1986 we did this. It's like, yeah, in 1986 you also did a shit ton of cocaine and we're high on gas and we're, driving 18 hours every night. Like, there's a lot of things you did in 1986 that weren't good. Right. And just because that's how things used to be doesn't mean that's how they should always be. I mean, look at opera. It's an art form that hasn't changed in 500 years. And opera's art, their audience is this, to this day. The only way an art form grows is if it goes, okay, what else can we do? You see something like Chikara Pro that has a very sort of superhero-centric, almost cartoonish atmosphere. You see something like Ring of Honor that's very, traditional pro wrestling centric. You see something like New Japan that is very sports centric. You see Lucha Libre, you see British wrestling, you see all sorts of art forms just like music. There's not necessarily, bad music is just music without any sort of emotional investment from the artist. But I can't tell you that a punk song is better than a jazz song or a jazz song is better than hip-hop song, because technically speaking, it might be good hip-hop, but it might not be good jazz. in the same way, good lucha isn't the same as good Japanese wrestling. They're two different things. But we need to understand that all art has validity if it's honest.
I agree. I believe, I could even be honest as a wrestling fan. That's where we actually lose a connection. We compare too many companies together and be like, oh, this is better than this, instead of just being like, this is great because this is what it is, and this is great because this is what it is. So of course, last question: you're right now you're currently independent, so there gotta be at least a list because Cody, since they took his name, had a list of opponents that he considers dream opponents. There got to be at least 3 guys that you're like, okay, I want to work with these guys.
Well, funny thing, when I saw Cody do that, my immediate thought after I got released was I wanted to take the same photo, but I wanted it to be just a shopping list because I thought it would be hilarious. Where it's just like eggs, milk, whey protein, chicken breast. That's all I was going to say. But honestly, no. The thing is, right now, there's probably more talent on the independent scene than there's ever been. Even with WWE making a huge grab for a lot of these guys, you still have people like Silas Young, who's phenomenal. I worked with him back in '04. He's still great. You have guys like, they're here right now, God, Tamatonga, and Tangaloa. They're both awesome. I mean, there's a lot of really good talent out there nowadays, and trying to pick 1 or 2 or even 3 where it's like, oh, I want to work this. Screw that. I want to work with anyone you can give me. I want anyone you can throw at me. I worked with a guy in England, actually, a few weeks ago named Cara Noir, who most people haven't heard of, but he's amazing. The man is absolutely a phenom. You can actually find our match online, and it's amazing stuff. But this was a guy, like, first time I went over to England for this promotion, I wrestled Daisuke Sakamoto for Big Japan Pro Wrestling, Doug Williams, and Matt Riddle. And then the second time I was like, give me Cara Noir. I want to wrestle him. Most people in the U.S. might not have heard of the guy, but he's amazing. And hopefully by getting to work with me, I'm helping to expose him to a slightly bigger audience, which is good for him and good for wrestling. Wrestling doesn't thrive on, staying small. It thrives on getting big, on more stars, on more people knowing names, on more people caring. If no one cares about anyone on the show, why would anyone care about the show?
See, and that's the thing that's really important. Well, us at Angel City guys, yeah, I know I blushed, but us as Angel City guys, we care about indie. That's from small businesses, indie music, and indie wrestling. So with that said, please, if you see Simon
Grimm.
I'm going to be honest, it's going to take some time to get used to that.
With 2 M's. Well, that was the original name, actually. That was what I pitched, but they wouldn't let me use it.
You know what?
It's kind of my subtle middle thing. I'm not a bitter person. I was, I had a good job for 4 years. I got paid well, and I've been able to move on. But if I have a subtle middle finger, it's on things like that where it's like, I think this was the better name. You didn't let me use it, so here, I'm just going to use it now. Be well aware of that this is like my little middle finger to you. Yeah, I can do this. I can do this better.
I'm going to be honest, that's actually a better name.
See, I thought that's what I said.
And I'm going to be honest, I'm usually, Mr. Yay, but this is the absolute truth. So, it went with the character. Simon Grimm. Brothers Grimm.
I'm glad you'd be surprised how people get that. Yeah, no, that was the reason I picked it. I was like, it's a literary thing. It's very subtle. It's sort of an archaic name you don't hear anymore. I went, that sounds good. And they were like, no, we want you to be Gotch. Okay. You're paying my checks, man. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. And of course, as you clearly know, it's a job. We have to, do our job. So with that said, I'm going to ask one last question, and that is, do you have any wrestling stories you want to share?
Wrestling stories that I want to share.
Key terms, want, not have to. So basically be like, no, let's wait.
Okay, I'll share this one. This is pertinent today. If you're not familiar with Dr. Chuck Tingle, he's an author and Taekwondo black belt. I highly recommend looking up his work. When we did the tour of Japan last year for WWE, I went out drinking very heavy. I was out drinking till 4 in the morning because apparently bars don't close in Japan. I will not divulge the amount of money I spent on alcohol. I'll simply say I'm ashamed of it. It was a lot. It was like a shameful amount. It was that sort of thing where you're like, I hope no one ever sees this bill because they will question my mental state. But when I finally got back to the hotel, I slept for about 3 hours. I woke up, I went to have breakfast. I wound up meeting up with Xavier Woods and Kat Power and Chris Wolf, who are a couple of independent female wrestlers who work in Japan, as well as Shauna, who's Portugal's perfect athlete. and we literally wound up playing video games and watching readings of Chuck Tingle's books, and it was a very proud moment for me to get to meet Chuck Tingle today because of that.
See, I love the term, full circle, because that's what it means, folks. So with that said and done, you see a card with Simon Grimm with 2 M's. Please check it out, go, and I promise you, you won't be sorry. I am Leo Styles. This is Simon Grimm. This is LA Comic Con, Day 2, and I thank you.